We'd like to welcome this episode from Field to Plate. Of course, most people probably out there knows that me, Larry Lewis, is the host. We did a show a few months ago with Zach Danks, which is the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife grouse and turkey biologist. And so today we're doing a little different twist on this. Another title I guess I got here recently was the 8th District Director for Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. And we actually got Nick Craig with us today, and he's 7th District. A lot of y'all know we do a hunting show along with food for most of these shows. But one of the things that's lack of that we got to cook for a while is grouse. And it's because we have a lack of them, but we're working on that with the Fish and Wildlife Department and different clubs, organizations is really trying to do their best to help bring them back, help see why the reason that we're having issues with them, etc. With Zach dig into some of that today. Recently, in the mail, I was happy to get from the Fish and Wildlife Department was a grouse report that Zach put together, and we're kindly going to go through that today and look through that and go over it so the public and at least this area get an idea of some of the work that Zach and him's been doing and been going about doing and working on to see what the issues are and how many grouse we have and see if they're improving from year to year, etc. And we'll let Zach get into that in a minute. And those that don't know nothing about backcountry hunters and anglers, we won't spend a lot of time on that, but we're actually a group that works with public land and works with the Fish and Wildlife Department commissioners to help with public projects to expand and make better use, hopefully make better areas for y'all to hunt and fish in with the guidance of Fish and Wildlife Department and working along with other groups just to be able to help present it and have a long-term effect upon others that may want to come in and use public land in the future. So we'll always have it, long story short. And Nick wants to say anything? You want to say hi? Or?
Yep. Hello. You can join Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Just Google the name on the website there. And get in touch with us. We're going to be doing a lot of like boots on the ground stuff. You can come out, events, help Fish and Wildlife get some stuff done. And we appreciate it.
I know one of the most recent things that happened in this area that we was going to try to do and couldn't was we helped stock trout along with the fishery department over in Red River Gorge, and they're always, that's just some of the things I want to mention that we're going to do, and we're here to talk to Zach today. And we'll lead into that right now, maybe fixing a work day or two that we could help with the drumming reports or whatever Zach may need to help him with the reports and studies that he needs to help figure out what we could do to help grouse along the way and make the habitat better or whatever it may be to help increase the grouse numbers if there's anything that we can do or vice versa on that. So, Zach, if you want to, let's just get straight into the meat of the project. That's
okay.
Saying, ain't it?
Great. Well, first off, thanks, Larry, for having me. It's great to be here with Nick, too, and just to be part of the discussion with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a great organization. Department. Speaking for the department, we, it takes a village in so many contexts, but for wildlife management, it certainly takes partnerships. And, yet another organization of excited, invigorated hunters is always a good thing. So I know I certainly need it. because there's potential for folks to help me out with ruffed grouse in particular, but even turkeys and of course all the other species and programs and activities we have going at the department. As far as the report goes, I'll be glad to send this to anyone that's interested in seeing it. The folks that got my most recent mailing are with basically everybody, every grouse hunter I had a list for. These are people that have helped with our hunter cooperator surveys, which are guys that keep a log of their hunting, and they send that to me at the end of the season so I can track their hunting success, which helps us track the population. And then a lot of folks that filled out an online survey about grouse hunting and regulations, those kind of things, this past summer. So anybody that was willing to be contacted, put their email or phone number, address, and I sent them this report. But I'll be glad to send it out. So what I tried to do in the report was kind of go over a few different things. Well, first off, just the picture on the front, if everybody can see that. This is a drumming grouse, of course. If you know anything about grouse, or if you live in eastern Kentucky or anywhere in Appalachia in springtime, nowadays folks listen for turkeys gobbling a lot. That's pretty fun.
It is.
But there's nothing like that low thump that you can feel as much as hear, which is a grouse drumming. And that's what this bird in this picture is doing. Our department artist, Rick Hill, phenomenal naturalist and artist, drew this pencil sketch. It's just amazing. I like it because drumming surveys are used to track the population. And just being a hunter, as a biologist, we like to count animals to the extent we can, and grouse are really hard to count. So we use drumming surveys for that. We've done drumming surveys for many years, and unfortunately the trend has been downward, which just reflects the population going down and the lack of habitat on the landscape. So I'm trying to ramp up the drumming surveys in a sort of a focused way. And right here where we're filming, West Liberty, this was obviously the epicenter of the 2012 tornadoes, which were so devastating to people. From a wildlife standpoint, the grouse look at it a little differently because our forests are sort of maturing at a kind of even rate. Well, as bad as the storm was for most of us, it provided some variation in the condition of our woods, which we think grouse are liking so far. We have anecdotal reports from hunters that birds are responding. So I'm trying to get in there and study that and focus my drumming surveys there. So we can talk more about that specifically. But in the report, I also go into those hunter cooperator surveys. And that's something where if you grouse hunt at all, if you can keep track of your hunts for me, it's really important for me to know how many times you go, how many hours you spend hunting, along with if you flushed anything, much less killed anything. A lot of guys don't even shoot birds now. They just like to work their dogs. Well, in my opinion, those anytime you're out trying to encounter grouse during the grouse season, that's important information I can use because, with the decline in grouse, we've seen a decline in grouse hunters, so we don't get as much data. We've only had 9, 10, 12 guys submitting a report every year for the last several years. And so I'm hoping with this mailing that, I know there's more folks out there grouse hunting than that. So hopefully I can capture a few more of that, because that's some really good information for me. And I'll be glad to talk about that at all. And then as far as the other things in here, I do touch on kind of the effort I've tried to do with gathering blood samples from hunters for testing the West Nile virus exposure in our birds. And that kind of did okay the first year, and it's really petered off, again, partly because guys just aren't wanting to shoot the few birds they encounter, I believe. But it's, we've also had rough years population-wise, so not been a lot of birds to harvest, to sample their blood. So hopefully, though, signs are, just talking to Larry a second ago, signs are better, that maybe there's a few more birds out there this year, everything else equal. So maybe there's opportunity to study these things a little bit, because West Nile is sort of it's a new player on the scene of factors that influence ruffed grouse. So we're trying to kind of look at that, and I also give some preliminary results on that grouse hunter survey I did back in the summer. And as soon as I get the final results wrapped up, I'll be glad to send that out to everyone as well. So that's kind of an overview. Oh, and the other thing I did was touch on the habitat accomplishments of our Northeast region with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So Morgan County is part of our Northeast administrative region. And so our public lands guys in this region are really leading the way for the department when it comes to forest management, which is critical for grouse, but so important for so many other species, from game to non-game. So there's information about that. We've had lots of habitat work done. We're planning lots of commercial timber harvests as a habitat practice. So lots of good things in store there. I'll be glad to talk about.
The Zach and one of the work days we was thinking about working with you guys on, or hopefully working out with y'all, was the Drummond surveys. Mm-hmm. And even after we at Showdown Day, we can go in more depth than that on the. But how can even turkey hunters or whatever, they would, when they're out turkey hunting, if they hear a grouse drum, write it down, location, area, email it, send it to you. Would that help you?
It sure would. Absolutely. I'm going to put a form on our webpage so that turkey hunters can get that. Hunters in Eastern Kentucky can get that. And if they wouldn't mind to keep track of drumming that they hear, along with the goblin, then send that to me, and that would be some really good information. We're always plagued by getting enough samples to really be able to make sense out of the data. But if I got enough turkey hunters reporting, that'd be some really good information. States like New York, for example, New York State, they use their turkey hunters to help gauge their grouse population. So it can be done. So that would be a big help for us.
And it's going to take that too. And I don't know if Nick agrees with me or not. That, we got turkey hunters, grouse hunters, deer hunters, or whatever. But in the long run, we're all in this for the same reason. Whether you hike, you fish, you deer hunt, you bear hunt, or whatever. We all want to see each other succeed, and we all want to see each other's favorite hobby, whatever, which type hunting. Like some people does it all and try to do it all, but we want to see each of us succeed in that. And if we can work together for these Drummond studies, or if you had a turkey count or deer, whatever program it is, if we can work together for the better of the environment, better of the animals, or better of the hunters, then we're all going to benefit from that. And I know, Zach, that you need boots on the ground.
Right. And obviously hunters are out there, so they know. So one other thing I'll say, just whatever it is, we are trying to do more hunter surveys, and we're not doing that because we want to invade your privacy. We're doing it because we want you to help us tell us where and how much game is out there so that we can help manage your resource better. Because, in this day of cell phones and instant access to lots of information, information is king. And so that needs to trickle down to the wildlife community too. We need information to help us understand the situation better so we can prioritize volunteer that we have to help us work, So anything that folks can do to help out would be much appreciated.
And you guys ain't wanting, they're not wanting GPS coordinates where you hear the grouse and woods. They're just, hey, Morgan County.
Yeah.
Or Ezell, parts of Morgan County, Blaze, Wrigley, whatever county you're in, maybe just that select area. We heard a grouse, because if you look through Zach's surveys and what he already has published and put together, you don't see no hot spots or counties or nothing. You just see a general how many grouse may have been flushed or whatever the surveys focus on at the time. That they don't list none of the places or anything like that. But it's important to be able to get these numbers. So Zach kind of has a direction he needs to go for his studies, or what's working good here may work good somewhere else, like the tornado damage. Obviously, if grouse numbers explodes in those areas, then we know for sure habitats, is a big issue and it needs to be improved.
Right. It's definitely something we want to study, because if we can document that grouse are responding in an area like the tornado zone, that's a pretty good size area that had a lot of damage, there are ways to replicate that in a sensible way with timber harvest. And you guys are about public lands. So one of the biggest ways that sportsmen can help us is advocating on behalf of wildlife and wildlife habitat. The Daniel Boone National Forest, our biggest chunk of public land, they need to manage forest for healthy ecosystems and habitat for critters as well as recreation. So hopefully the science, the data I'm trying to collect will feed into supporting decisions that will be made down the road. So while we're pushing for habitat all the time, you can't neglect the science, because
Sure.
there are people that need to see that and use that as ammunition to go forth with such management. So.
Have you, I know one thing that forestry's been working on, and they've been some Kentucky, the Fish and Wildlife, is the Blackwater Watershed Project.
Yeah.
That's currently in the works and planned. And,
Right.
And it's just a mixture of, I think there will be some habitat work on there. Just
there
a
will.
mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's stuff as hunters we all have to look forward to, whether, like I said, if you're hunting, fishing, hiking, or whatever, that these projects overall help everybody. And as far as on the public land side of this, there are a lot of public land that's in this tornado area also.
Some of the Boone, and you're real close to Paintsville,
Yeah.
Lake WMA too. And the study I'm trying to do is going to be largely on private land, because it's still mostly private land. So one thing I will ask, if folks have friends, family, their properties, and they'd be willing to let us survey, if you could reach out to Larry, that would be very helpful, because I'm going to be looking to make contact with landowners to get permission to have our staff, our biologists and technician, maybe volunteers if possible, go and do these surveys. And it'd be in early April, and you'd go there for 3-4 mornings really early trying to hear those drummers. So.
And on a side note of that, I know Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, we're going to help with those studies. And we want to do some on private and public. If you got some public, we can also do.
Mm-hmm.
And but I know there are a few other groups. I think the Kentucky Grouse Hunter Association, they're going to step in and try to help. I think maybe they may have helped you in the past.
They have, yes, they have.
They're going to come in and want to help. So even if you have property out there, and you may not want everybody on it, get in contact with me, and we'll find you somebody, hopefully in one of these clubs, that you don't mind to come up on that property with Zach and or whoever, and do the study and drum and survey, and we can get someone that you're comfortable with. We'll work to that, because, I understand not everybody wants somebody.
Sure. And that's the last thing we want, is to make folks uncomfortable with who's on their place.
But it'd be benefit to us and the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife if you have any property in these areas that's been hit with a tornado, that you get up with one of us, contact us, and let us come. What is it, first, second week of April? Is that when the focus is going to be?
Tail end of March, first 2 weeks of April. It's the main time.
We'll set some times. And hey, you may love the outdoors, be a property owner, say, I'd like to go set out and see if I could hear the grouse drum, or take a hike through your property and say it. And that would be great. It'd let you get in touch with your property and what's on it. Let us know. Mm-hmm. We'll get you the paperwork, get you the form, and we'll get that information from you. We'll get it turned in. Most of y'all know me in Morgan County. I'm easy to get a hold of. Hopefully we can get some numbers on here afterwards, of some phone numbers and ways to get in contact with us. And this also will be on YouTube eventually. Nick has an area, which is District 7,
mm-hmm.
and prime grouse habitat in that area too. And we'll be showing this in his area. So if you have any information, they're grouse, Zach could use any information that y'all have as far as telling him counties where grouse is, or where you flushed them, jumped them, to get overall a good report for the whole state of Kentucky and where he's sitting at. And, and I can't stress this enough, that we need to be communicative together and work together to fix these issues on the grouse, turkey, or, whatever. Like I said before, you hunt, we need to communicate and work together to get this job done, because it's a great big job and it's going to take a lot of people to work. I know, I've been bad for it before. A couple of years ago, I was just sad, like grouse ain't come back. They don't used to do nothing or whatever. But now I got thinking, I was like, it's totally wrong to have that mono, because if you really like your sport and you really like it, Zach's only one person. Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife has only so many people they can send out over this great big state. So they rely upon us as hunters and fishermen or whatever to help them get the stats and data that they need to help all of us. And so I really can't stress that enough. I talked to Scott a couple of days ago, and he's hoping to get started in some habitat work before long.
Scott Friedhoff, yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and that's a plus. The up around Dewey Lake, Paintsville Lake, and some of the areas Scott has, and I know other biologists done work too, but I'm more familiar because I worked with Scott more in the past. They're doing as much as they possibly can with the help they have. And if you have a club organization out there, jump in, contact. You can go on Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. They have maps and areas of all the biologists, of all the guys that's over top departments with them that you can get in contact with somebody and reach out to them and say, hey, we'd like to go and clean a stream up. Are they a stream that you need help with? Are they some public land that y'all might need some wood boxes on, or can we help in any way? Or are they some habitat work, some plantings that y'all need help with? Can we show up and help y'all plant trees? I'm sure there are numerous things the department could have help with that we could help.
Sure. Yep.
Anyways.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
On the private land part of this, Zach, I was noticing on the tornado area, and Zach and I've sent him some emails this year. By no means there are abundance of grouse. Nowhere it's come back, but like I was telling Zach earlier, some hunters and different people I've seen in deer season hunting this year, they have flushed a few more birds. They have saw a few more birds. So that's encouraging and more of a reason that we really need to get out there and work. And I also noticed something the other day was the beech nut crop this year looks really good.
Right.
And grouse love beech nuts.
They do, yeah. We had a pretty good beech crop across East Kentucky. So, it may be a chance where you can find some of those grouse in some more open woods and get a little better shot opportunity, when they're in there feeding. So.
And that's some of the stuff we can look at, areas to focus on whenever you do, like turkey season. I can remember when I was a kid that there wasn't nothing better to be sitting there and all of a sudden you hear grouse start drumming. Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard that for a while, like you used to be able to. And that's something I always put with turkey season. So turkey hunters, if you guys can help us out, we greatly appreciate it. I know Zach would greatly appreciate it. There are several clubs, organizations, the Ruffed Grouse Society. They help out. Kentucky Grouse Hunter Association. There are other clubs that helps out. Backcountry hunters and anglers. Check them out. You can go online and you can join if you want to or whatever. But we're a real advocate player in wanting to see our public grounds not only, of course, they stay open, but improve and help them improve where our kids one day can go and hunt, or your kids or grandkids have a place to always be able to go no matter what and hunt and fish and have hike or watch for birds, butterflies, whatever you like doing outdoors. And I can't thank Zach enough today coming and going over this grouse report with us. And we spoke about habitat last time he was here and different things going on. And can't thank Mountain Television enough to let us come in here and talk about this important issue that's dear to my heart, especially grouse hunting, upland game. We was talking earlier about things that people, there's some things people like a little more than others. Nick might like fishing or bird hunting better or deer hunting, but the bird hunting's always a thing on my heart, so it's my passion I go after. So any way that I can help, I would love to, and we reach out to you guys the same way. So going back, thank Mountain Telephone TV for MTTV for letting us do this today and bring this awareness to you guys and ask for help, because we're pleading for help. You see this grouse that's on this page, we're pleading for y'all to help us. And so we don't want to have America's Most Wanted grouse show next time we're there. Only one in America, and everyone's trying to find it. So help us see ways that we can improve habitat, and ways doing that is help Zach. And stay tuned to Facebook. We're going to have a meeting after this, and we're going to talk about some ways maybe that we can help Zach and the department with this grouse study and some other things. And you can look on our Kentucky Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Facebook page, which you can get service from MTTV to do that. And that's our basic internet provider for around here, and we appreciate that. So get on there. We have a Facebook page. When we have work days, they'll be listed, and you can follow up on that, or some other clubs around, maybe Kentucky Grouse Hunters. They'll have their thing that have work days maybe listed, work for you in different groups, or the Ruffed Grouse Society. But it's all online. You can get your service, and I'm going to plug for my Mountain Telephone TV here, because they not only let us do this, but they let me host the From Field to Plate show. And it's just a blessing to have an avenue that we can come upon, whether it's showing people how to cook wild game, whether it's telling people the need that the fish and wildlife may have to have, or good news stuff going on in the outdoor world, to where we can bring that to you guys and let the public know what's going on. So we thank you, we appreciate you, and till the next show or next episode, see y'all later.